Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, whenever you're tuning in. Creatives, welcome back to the Almost Creative Podcast. Today, we're having me as your host, Christian Diaz. Travis is out of town, so I'm stepping in. But today we have a wonderful guest, Anna Geyer. She has been a talent that we worked with before, or how other people say, model. She's done anything from print, product, trade shows, runways, and dude, she does a lot more. So, Anna, thank you for joining me.
I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you. So the reason I asked you to come on the show is because I feel like we've worked with quite a couple of models, but you're the first one where I'm thinking to myself, oh, you're very business oriented. You're very business minded. So I want to ask you questions talking about how do you do what you do, and how do other people watching the show, how can they do what you do?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. How did you start modeling? I think we just start right from the beginning.
Yeah. So I think everybody has a different way of getting into modeling, and mine wasn't just something where I just got into it immediately and dove in. It was kind of something that happened gradually over time. When it's something I had wanted to do my whole life. Like growing up, I was in dance, music, all these different things. I always wanted to be in acting. I didn't think about modeling too much, actually. It's kind of something that I fell into. And when I was in high school, it's so crazy to say that this is how I got into the industry. But these random people came to our lunch. It was for Barbizon, which is a modeling and acting school, and I'm not really sure if they exist too much anymore. And I can go into that later. For anyone starting out, I wouldn't recommend going this route. I did meet a lot of good people this way, and I got a lot of good experiences. But again, coming back to it, it's not. Knowing what I know now, I would have done it differently. But I was about 14, 15 years old when I started going to this modeling school. And then pretty much that's all I was doing was the modeling school and learning, how to do runway, how to do print, how to hold yourself, how to carry yourself, how to speak, how to be professional. And that was pretty much it during high school, other than a few little gigs here and there. And then I went to this thing called IMTA in LA back in 2012, which is crazy to say. And you meet with a bunch of agents and things there. I did modeling, I did acting. I think I did dance as well. And you get exposure that way. And about 2 years later, I think it was a year or two later, I did another one, which I can't remember the name of it at the moment, but it was another showcase. But this one was in Chicago. So you go in front of a bunch of talent agents, things like that. And that's how I got my first agency. The only thing with that is that you pay money into it. And that's why, even though it started my journey and got me to where I am today, and again, I got to meet some great people, some of whom I still stay in touch with from time to time, knowing what I know now, I would have done it differently.
What exactly would you have done differently? Because, technically, were you scouted?
So, to go to Barbizon, that they kind of will almost take, they won't take anyone, but they kind of will because you pay for it. So anyone who wants to learn about the modeling industry, things like that. Maybe not everybody, but it's not as selective as getting a modeling agency per se.
I see.
What I would do differently is I would just take some digitals in my room. They don't have to be fancy. Wearing black, like a black tank top, black skinny jeans, black heels. I would take my measurements and I would send them into agencies online, or I would go to their open calls, because that's what I've been doing ever since then for other agencies, to get connected with other agencies around the country. But when I was 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, I didn't know that. And the industry was a lot different back then because social media was there, but it wasn't as prevalent as it is today. So,
it's funny you bring up the social media thing, because when I work with talent, because, people call you a model, but we, camera people, we say talent.
Right.
It's 10 years ago, and I wasn't even in the industry back then, it was completely rude and unprofessional for you to have your phone on set.
Yes.
But now it's kind of like a weird thing where an advantage to you on set would be for you to get some BTS and send it to who's hiring you. And it's such a weird thing because it's I'm on set to work, but everyone's now on their phones, and it's kind of a weird thing with the culture shifted that way.
Yeah, and sometimes it's weird because it can be a positive thing and a negative thing at the same time, because I started in a time where it was like, you keep your phone away. Don't even think about the fact that you own a phone and have it with you.
Yeah.
But now you kind of get two conflicting things in the same email. Like recently I had a job where in the email it said, keep your phone away, don't have your phone out, but also send us 10 photos from the shoot that you take on your phone and send us behind the scenes and, check in, do all these things. So it's conflicting. Like they want us to do both at the same time, and it's usually fine. However, on the talent end of it, you want to be professional on both sides of things, and you go into it not knowing, well, should I take my phone out now to take a photo? I don't want them to think I'm unprofessional, but I'm trying to be professional to them. Yeah. But it's conflicting, but it's just a weird, it's just a thing that is.
No, I totally get you. And the reason I bring it up to you is because I've gotten those emails too. Yeah. So it's like, sure, I'm behind the camera, just
right.
That's no problem.
Right.
But you're in front.
Right.
You're literally on the set.
Right.
So like, and a lot of times you don't have your cellular device on your person.
Right.
So I don't know. It's just it's just a weird thing. Do you find that it's hard to kind of keep up with the standards of the industry?
Yeah. So, and I think things are a lot different today than they were 10 years ago. When I signed with my first exclusive agency, it was the understanding that you didn't really cut or color your hair without permission. You didn't get tattoos or piercings or anything like that without permission. Now, some girls did, and it was fine, but it really is a case-by-case basis with your agent. I mean, some people were told, don't go in the sun because don't tan. Like, do not let your skin get, like, any different than it is now. Or don't work out too much, but don't, like, and get too muscular, but don't work out this. And it's kind of crazy especially because I am a personal trainer too, and I work in the fitness industry. So, some of the exercises and things, or like nutrition wise and fitness wise, that they were telling us to do, I'm like, I mean, there's a better way to do that. And it's coming from people who don't know anything about fitness or those kinds of things.
Yeah. You just pressed a couple buttons, because like I used to be a really, active athlete, mm-hmm. And then I got into powerlifting, and then I had an injury, and now I'm into running. And it's like, I've kind of seen a little bit of everything. Yeah. I've been taught by people who've gotten like their masters in biomechanics and stuff like that. And then you go into online, like the beauty industry. And by beauty, I mean like fitness magazines as well and stuff like that. And it's like, a lot of this advice is bullshit. Yeah. But they enforce it. Mm-hmm. And for you guys, it's crazy. They enforce it heavily.
Yeah. And I think I am grateful that things have changed a bit, because back in, I think, what year was it, 2012 or 2013, I went to New York to meet with some agents, and it was great, but I was told that my hips were too big. And at the time, I probably weighed like 110 pounds. I'm 5'10". And it's just so funny. And they're like, well, you need to get your hips a little bit smaller and a few other things. And it's, how much smaller can they get? It was New York. If you want to model in New York, you needed to be smaller. And if you go back and look at photos of me, and I'm still, not to say that I'm not still skinny, I am, or small or whatever. But even back then, I was like this. And it's just crazy to think about, because the standards back then were even stricter than they are now. They've loosened up quite a bit. And even back then, I was like, they ain't getting any smaller. I even tried. I'm like, they ain't getting any smaller. So, and since now being in the fitness industry, and I was in it for a little while, then I wasn't, and now I'm recently back in it part-time. I don't even know the best way to say this, but for the first time in my life, I have a butt. And it came on accident from teaching my classes. It really did. And but a lot of modeling agencies would be upset at that, because, well, your measurements got bigger. But I'm like, but I look better and I feel better. And it's just so crazy because back then I probably would have been like, oh my gosh, what do I do?
I think they just don't know about bunda.
Yeah. And now I'm like, but I feel stronger, my clothes fit better, and I'm very happy that standards are a little bit different now because I'm not freaking out about it as if I would be maybe 10 years ago. I'm also older and more experienced, so that probably has to do with it as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry and also glad that you had the experience because it's like, for me, I'm coming from it from a health perspective, just having more muscle in general.
Yes.
I mean, a healthy amount of muscle, right? Because 99% of people won't do it, but you can overdo it to a degree.
Of course.
But there's so many health benefits in just having muscle.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
The amount of people that develop diseases early just because like they're so skinny.
Yes.
And I don't think society would deem them healthy, but like the beauty industry would deem them like attractive. It's like, no, it's like this will bring on risk.
Right.
But anyways. So now that you've been in the industry for a while and you've seen where they will overstep their boundaries, what helps you determine what you say no to?
So saying no to something as far as when it comes to, for example, rate, when I have somebody offer me a job and it's way lower than a normal rate that I would accept, I'm not afraid to turn down a job anymore and to be honest with them, because the worst that can happen is that they just ghost you. Which does typically happen when I say, hey, that's a lot lower than what my normal rate is. I've been in this industry for quite a while, this and that and whatever. And
you want to say that without coming off like a douche as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a hard boundary, or it can be hard to set boundaries sometimes, especially if you're new to the industry or even if you've been in it for a while. But especially because I have other things in my life now, like, I mean, all the other industries that I work in and just everything, I'm to the point now where if I'm not busy with modeling, I am busy with something else, and my time is precious, and I'm not going to take any job just because it's a job.
Speaking of pay, how does one who is a talent, who is a model, how would they even know how to charge for what they do? Because, it's a hard thing to quantify. For
sure. And that's something I think no matter where you are at in your career, there's a lot of nuance to it. It might not always be an exact rate that you're going to get booked for the same type of job every time. You kind of start to get an idea, like say you're doing a video shoot where you're speaking. You might get paid more for that than you would a video shoot where you're not speaking. Or, and not always, because it depends like on the brand, on, budgets and there's so many different things that go into it. It's never black and white. And I think that's what makes it a little more difficult.
So then let me ask you, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna stop you right there because everything we do, even for very similar clients, sometimes our pricing is different because there's so many variables. Like, there's just so many variables, right? But what do you say to the person who calls you and is like, hey, we have this shoot coming up, it's 15 to 20 an hour? Like,
at that point, they're calling the wrong person, and I don't mean that. I don't mean anything bad by that. Yeah. But at this point, I have so much experience, and not just in the industry, but life experience, and I've done so many shoots, and I've done this and that, and I know how I am on set, and I know how other people have told me that I am on set and to work with. So I'm not just going based off of my own beliefs, but feedback that I've gotten that at this point, that's not a rate that I can accept, because there's gas, parking, food. You're a 1099, so you're paying your own taxes. So that $15 to $20 an hour, you're not making that money. And of course you need to like keep track of write-offs and everything like that. And it's a little bit insulting.
No, I agree with you. It is a little insulting. And I know you're trying to like be nice about it, but you've told me something off camera that like I afterwards relate to it, because it's like someone saying, hey, we only have this much, it's 15 an hour a year, but we need you to bring your gear and everything. And it's like, I can't do that. Right. I can't do that project for this amount. sorry, I meant 50 an hour like a rate, but I mean like overall
Right.
like, amount, right?
Right.
I can't do that amount because you're talking about time that I'm there.
Right.
There's not including the time I'm editing. There's
Right.
not including the time that I pre-planned this shoot. That's
Right.
not including the time that I location scouted, talent scouted. That's not including revisions that you may
Right.
have because we don't have a solid contract yet. And then after that, I am supposed to do customer service 24/7.
Yeah.
Your amount of money that says this is something simple that like will be done like this. I've worked with people like you before. And because I've done that and I haven't gotten a lot of money from it, I've also had my it's like what I'm trying to paint the pictures here. You take a job on like that where you're not getting paid a lot. And then because you're 24/7 working on this customer calls, your family's telling you, hey, you need to get off the phone and spend time with your family.
Yeah.
So it is almost insulting because like that's my experience.
Yeah.
But for you, they're telling you, hey, like 15 an hour, but then they don't consider the lifestyle it takes for you to,
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest, Anna, it takes a lot of work to be Anna Geyer. I see you, you look beautiful. Like
Thank you.
It's not, I can imagine you can't just, oh, shoot's done, let me go home and down a bag of chips.
And I'd be lying if I said that doesn't ever happen.
Yeah.
But there is a lot that goes into it. And this goes on the model side too, because I've noticed I kind of like stand on the sidelines and see this on social media or like hear from other people because I always try to be as professional as I can.
Yeah.
And just with everything. But I've heard stories on both sides where either a photographer was not being professional or a model was not being, or like anybody,
Yeah.
any talent or anyone that's behind
Just
the
someone on
scenes.
set. Yeah.
Right. And I think there are some people on some sides of the industry who don't think that like the other side of the industry has to do as much work or just because they're not doing.
Oh.
So I think there may be some models.
I think I've heard that actually.
Yeah.
Where like the model is done and she walks off set and the dude's like, what do you mean she's getting paid this much? And it's like,
Right.
like, dude, there's more to it.
There's,
you know?
oh, yeah, exactly.
She's more than a pretty face.
Exactly. There is a lot that goes into it. And the same thing, like there's probably some models too that don't understand like the video side of it.
Yeah.
And I like to try to understand all of it, of course, because I just have a problem and I like to do everything. But that is one of the things that irritated me so much about, well, if you're just hot or you're pretty, you can be a model. It doesn't take any work. It doesn't take any talent. And it's so funny because sometimes like even in my head I'm like, oh, like yeah, modeling's kind of easy until I get back on set and I'm like, there's so much, again, nuance that goes into every single shoot. Or when I'm creating my own like UGC or things at home, like you get in your head and you're like, oh, it's kind of easy, but then you start doing it again and you're like, no, because there's a difference between knowing that like maybe you're looking like head on, but then if you like tilt your chin a little bit or like move your eyes a little bit, not everyone's gonna naturally just know to do that.
Yeah.
And it comes with experience and I could go in so much.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, not to paint myself as the bad guy here, but like there used to be a time I was a lot more cute, I would say. Maybe. I don't know. But I was approached by someone and they asked me if I was interested in this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And the way they came to me about it was kind of weird too. They're like, oh, you have a look, you're ethnically ambiguous.
Mm-hmm.
But besides that, you entertain it for a little bit. But then they're like, okay, well, you can't just look good. We need you to, I was more built at the time. They're like, we need you to actually slim down, right? Because what's in right now is being androgynous.
Mm-hmm.
And then we need you to slim down. We need you to not learn, but we'd like for you to learn how to dance. Can you pick up these things? Do you know how to sing?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and literally it was just like a conversation of like, maybe just do like some clothing or something like that. But then it became like, we need you to have these skills.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was like, am I modeling or is this like a fucking like what is this?
Yeah.
Right? Because
what am I actually doing?
yeah, I don't know. It's definitely weird, but I think you realize not only the amount of work, but the amount of regulation too. Like once you, I don't know, this is just from what I know, once you fit into a look or like, I get like even from what it felt like got chosen. Yeah. You can't change it.
There is a saying that the industry chooses you in a way, and that, there's people who get scouted or there's people who go into the industry knowing that they want to go into the industry. And I was really, really more interested in acting over anything. Modeling was just like, I guess I'll do that too.
Yeah.
And I was told, modeling is going to be your way into the entertainment industry. And then once you establish a name for yourself with modeling, then you can branch off into acting. And so that was like, okay, I'll do that. And I fell in love with modeling and I love it. I'm so glad that I've done it. I've done so many things that a lot of people don't get the chance to do in their life. So I'm very grateful. And that's just not everything, just even like on screen. That's like off screen too, just experiences and life lessons as well. But I wish that I had maybe taken some more acting classes on the side while I was and doing that, because now I'd really like to get more into acting, and I love talking. Have made myself very comfortable in front of a camera, and had I been, kind of getting myself in there all this time, it'd be easier to slide into it. But again, that's just something you learn with experience, and hopefully I can help other people learn from my experiences.
So with your experience, how do you find that you manage your mental health, your body image, like with industry expectations?
So that's something that for me now is different than me 10 years ago, or 5, 6, 7, 8, however many years ago. And I think there's no black and white answer either, because when I think back to, again, maybe a decade ago and all in between, I think I've got conflicting memories of how I thought, because I remember thinking that I didn't really care what the standards were and that I was just happy to be me. But then I also have memories of thinking, I do need to try to get my hips smaller, or trying to eat these like weird diets or just like things like that. So those are kind of like two conflicting things happening at the same time.
I mean, for like you're 5'10", you were doing runway. That's like the most strict thing I can think of.
Right.
For what you do.
And most of the runway that I've done was in Miami. So which was nice, because the standards are a little bit different. In New York, it's, at least back then, it's like you need to be like that. Yeah.
So this is like the third time that you mentioned the hips thing.
Yeah.
Was it really that strict? Were they like you couldn't change things about yourself?
Yeah. So when I was first getting into the industry, and when especially in 2015, when I signed with my first exclusive agency, it was under the expectation that you're getting signed for your look as is now, unless they tell you, hey, I'd like you to do this or whatever. So cutting your hair, dyeing your hair, anything drastic. Of course, like you can get a trim or maybe layer or something. But doing anything drastic to change your body, your look, your appearance. Some girls were even told, hey, don't go tan. Don't work out too much and get too muscular. Don't, whatever. I've heard it all. It was really like that. At least my experience, that was what it was like back then. And so that I've kind of carried that with me, thinking, like I can't dye my hair. I can't do, and I've never had the desire to dye my hair or get a tattoo or piercing or like, I mean, that those come and flow, but like come and go. But I've never like, I could go do those things if I wanted to, but I still kind of hold on to that mindset that it was drilled into me. Like, you can't do these things. And I have to remind myself now that, if I do change my appearance, I have to make sure I get photos to update my appearance and portfolio so people know what I look like. Do I plan on doing that? No, but knowing that I can do that now.
It must be liberating.
It's just like a weight lifted off of my shoulders, and that's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you're much more in support of freelancing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's different, and some people, especially if you're very young and not even 18 yet, it might make more sense to go with an exclusive agency, or if you're just starting out, because they can help get things started for you and you learn more. I feel like my experience, I like being freelance more than I like being with an exclusive agency, at least for now. Because when I was living in Vegas, I was only with non-exclusive agencies out there and freelance. And of course, Vegas is a whole different beast than Chicago. There's a lot of differences, and there's a lot of trade shows out in Vegas, and there's a lot of everything, and it's closer to LA. But I had a lot more freedom out there because I wasn't tied to anything. And especially out there, it's recommended that you don't sign an exclusive agency out in Vegas because you're going to limit yourself from a lot of work. And I was thriving out there as far as, I could do whatever I wanted. And I was myself. I was my own brand. And you don't have to miss out on opportunities, because here in Chicago, when I was with an exclusive agency, there were a lot of opportunities that I felt I did miss out on, at least throwing my name in the hat to be, to have that chance. And now I'd like to say that I'm a free agent. So because I'm not exclusively with anyone anymore, and I'm very happy about that, because now it's just, I'm motivated again about the industry, because now I can shoot for any jobs that I want. I can accept any jobs that I want that
and
are
on
offered.
your own time.
And on my own time.
I think that's something I wanted to talk to you about too, with the freelance, because you have the same liberties I do with freelance.
Yeah.
You can do other stuff.
Yes.
Like, I know that you're an EMT.
Yep.
I know that you're in nail tech.
Yep.
Correct?
Mm-hmm.
I know that you're starting a business.
Yes.
So there's so much beauty that comes with freelance that you can actually do other things. So you want to tell us a little bit about some of that stuff?
Yeah. So the beauty with modeling is that it's something that kind of, if you want it to, it can ebb and flow. So there have been times, like when I was in Vegas, I was modeling pretty close to full time, and because I had so much opportunity. And there have been years, there have been chunks of time where I was barely modeling. Like over the past, say, decade, there were times where I was doing a lot, and then there were times where I was doing none at all. But I always know I'm not going to ever completely give it up, or the industry, whether it's modeling, acting, things like that. So I was in EMS full time for almost 3 years. During that time, I didn't take very many modeling jobs. There was a lot that went into that, but it was flexible enough, and is flexible enough with doing shift work as an EMT, that you still have the time to do other freelance work and modeling and stuff like that. And as far as working in the fitness industry, I go teach maybe a couple classes. I'm not in the fitness industry full time right now either. I do nothing full time right now. I do everything because I just, that's who I am, and I have tried to fight myself on that. For a very long time, and I just decided I'm just going to do what I want to do. And all the things, luckily, a majority of the things that I have chosen are things that can intertwine, because a lot of it is, freelance modeling or freelance anything in the entertainment industry. Obviously, you choose your schedule.
So it's amazing that you get to do whatever you want now, right? Mm-hmm. But if you still wanted to get some modeling shoots, because you're still going to want to pick some stuff up, right?
Absolutely.
What would you do? What would I do?
So as somebody who is just starting, or just who hasn't done anything at all. Okay. So if I was just starting, of course, with the knowledge I have, or if somebody asked me for advice, I would start looking for non-exclusive agencies, first of all. Whether they're near me, or even surrounding states, or even ones that are national all over the country. I would absolutely start looking at those, because a non-exclusive agency, it doesn't hurt to be with them, because you can still you're still a freelancer. You can still look for your own work. I would definitely recommend that. There's casting sites, there's casting networks, there's Backstage, there's Facebook pages that people will post on, whether it's to be an extra, on Chicago Fire or something like that.
A lot of times I saw the sign for the bear.
Yeah. And I've done some extra work a few times. That's kind of when I was first getting into the industry. I started doing a little bit of that, and getting your foot in the door anyway in the industry. Just finding those Facebook pages, following them. Sometimes people will post castings on Instagram. Social media is huge. So in 2015, 2016, social media was there, but it was just starting to become bigger in this industry because they didn't really care about how many followers you had back then.
What?
Anything like that. Like it was just starting compared to now. Like, because 2016 is when I realized I needed to start building my Instagram and actually so it wasn't as big of a deal.
I just find it absolutely crazy you're saying that because like even now I have a friend who works out. He just got a job at Lionsgate. Yeah. And he telling me it's like, you know, studios are starting to care about the follower count because it's like you need to crowdfund these projects. And so for you to say that, how many years? I mean, that's 10 years ago, but like,
right.
For them to just not, we don't care how many followers there are. And now it's like, no, you need to have a number of, and especially now in an age where like we kind of want to get off social media now. Right. And like the industry wants you to be, I don't know. That's so weird. I can't believe you're telling me that.
It is. Well, back then you had a big portfolio with huge, like these large images of yourself. They were at least an 8x10 or possibly bigger. I can't remember, of your portfolio that people would flip through, and you had your comp cards, you had your headshot, like physical, like it wasn't digital yet. It was almost there. Cause it got to the point where I'd start carrying like a little iPad, and that would be my portfolio rather than having this big, you know, whatever physical one, which that was kind of crazy to live in the transition of that. Yeah. So if this is something that you want to do and you're starting from scratch, of course, you know, getting on those casting sites and getting on Facebook and on Instagram and looking for posts, of course, do that. But also build your portfolio. You don't have to wait for somebody to be like, oh my gosh, you have the look. Like, you can take nowadays you can take, you can really take initiative and do it yourself. Maybe find some photographers who are just starting out, and you guys can help each other. You get some modeling photos, and you guys both get photos for your portfolio. And trade for print is something that still happens all the time. I still do it.
That makes me instantly think of like photo walks and stuff like that, where you know you're getting yourself in front of like dozens of photographers, right?
Yeah. And so definitely do that. And if you have trouble with that, in that instance, I would say it's okay to invest in a professional shoot if you really, and you don't have to spend loads of money on it. I think some of my first shoots were like $300 to $700. Of course, like spending hundreds of dollars in any amount of course, that is still relatively a lot of money. But you don't need to go to these modeling schools and spend thousands of dollars and things like that. And then that's just if you are having a hard time finding somebody to do the trade shoots with, then maybe go invest in a shoot. And it doesn't have to be super expensive. It really doesn't. But just something to get yourself out there. And again, get yourself some digitals, take them on your phone. You don't have to invest a lot of money, at least in the beginning. I mean, some people may say, yes, you do, but it really just depends on what your goals are and how you go about it. There's absolutely a way to get into the industry without shelling out thousands of dollars.
Anna, thank you so far for everything. This is the part of the show where I'm going to ask you a few quick questions, okay?
All
right. Instantly, right away, favorite place you've traveled to?
This isn't even for modeling. This is just for life. I like to go up to northern Wisconsin every summer as much as I can, and it's one of my favorite places. So, yeah.
And this one was actually sent by my girlfriend because she's at UIC right now.
Yeah.
What is your go-to stop for a quick bite off campus?
So, well, anything on Taylor Street is great, but a place I really liked to go when I was there was Pompeii. It's an Italian restaurant, and my dad actually still works in the city, but at the time he worked only a few blocks away from UIC. So we met up a lot, and sometimes when I was commuting, we would drive together sometimes. So sometimes we would go into Pompeii for like lunch or dinner, and it's an awesome place. I highly recommend checking it out. if you're in that area.
Yeah. People seem to see Taylor Street.
Yeah.
Like that's just like.
There's a lot of good food on Taylor Street.
Everything's just there.
Yeah.
I would be willing to go a little bit further to Greektown.
Yes.
But
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's if I were to walk to. My dad and I would like walk and meet, and usually we'd end up like meeting somewhere like around Greektown because that's just where halfway, I guess. Yeah.
All right, and then last question, right? Would you ever consider moving to Miami?
So
this one's tough one.
If you had asked me this question like a different year of my life, I'd probably answer differently and say yes.
Yeah.
I liked Miami. I do like Miami. I haven't been there in a few years. I did live in Florida for a summer with my best friend. That's when I graduated college and I moved there right away. She lives, it was in the St. Pete area. And that's when I went down there for my first Miami swim week. And it was so much fun. I planned on living there longer than I did. I only stayed for the summer. And then I moved home, and then I moved to Vegas, and that's a whole nother story. But I have kind of come, again, with this full circle to where I tried Florida, I tried Vegas, I tried Chicago. But I never thought I would end up back here and start building a life for myself and all these different things and how much I missed being near Chicago.
Yeah.
I love Florida and I love Miami. I don't know that I'd live there now, only because I like all the things that I've done here. That doesn't mean I'd ever rule it out. I'd like to maybe have a place somewhere. I'd always like to have a place here and maybe eventually have a place in Florida or somewhere else too.
Yo, she's balling. What do you mean have a place there and
like
there and
long,
there?
Like long term, it would be nice to be able to not always be in Illinois. Like this be my home base, but have another place somewhere else.
It's like right in the center of everything, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
You
absolutely.
know, there's so much truth you say to that because now that I think about it, like I have flown 8 times this year. And I'm super, super grateful. Didn't expect things to work out this well. What I was just telling you about before the show, soon it'll be 10. Yeah. Right? But it's like, I've seen Texas. I've seen Arizona. I've seen California, right? I've seen Florida. And I've seen Memphis, like Tennessee. Yeah. So it's like, no matter what, I love Chicago. Yeah. I really love Chicago. And then like the friends I was telling you about that, like they're in Los Angeles. They're like, hey, I moved out here. I've been living here 4 years. I went to follow my career in Los Angeles. Yeah. And they're like, now that they're established, they want to come back to Chicago. Yeah. And
I see that happen a lot.
There's something beautiful about Chicago. And obviously I would probably be saying that if I was in LA or New York, but nah, you can't take me away. Right. Go Bears!
Yeah. Well, anytime, when I spent my time away, which, wasn't a huge amount of time when I lived in these other places, but it was enough to experience the way life is in other states and the people and the experiences and whatever.
The culture shock?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's gotten me a few times.
Sometimes, and I did notice though, like especially in Vegas, I always ran into people that were from here. Not necessarily people I knew, but like just somehow I always crossed paths with like, oh, where are you from? Chicago, like Joliet.
How do you say that?
Yeah.
There's a lot of Cubs supporters in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It was weird. Yeah.
Yeah. It's and it was kind of cool too to run into people like, oh, you're from that town? Like no one ever even knows when I say what town I'm actually from.
Yeah.
And if I say Chicago, well, you're not really from Chicago. I'm like, well, do you know what this town is? No? Okay, hold on.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever.
You never see that about other cities, too.
Yeah, right?
Isn't that weird? Because you're like, so I'm funny. From Houston. Oh, I live an hour away. You're not, I mean, I like Houston's the exception.
Right.
Anna, thank you so much for going on. We're going to see how this show ends up because I'm going to be honest, I have no idea. We crossed so many things.
Yes.
But if people wanted to follow you, and also I know you got big things coming. What should they look forward to seeing you in next? What's next for Anna Geyer?
So, as far as me personally and with modeling, I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing. And if you want to see any of that, I'm on Instagram and TikTok as my name, Anna Geyer. And as far as my business, that is going to be opening soon. I actually just got the keys today, so that's very exciting. I have a lot of work to do, but thank you. My business name, it's so crazy because I have barely actually told anybody the name, but I guess it's time. So the business name is Youthful Aura Beauty. And the reason I came up with that name is because my whole life, especially recently, I get told that I look and act younger than I am.
I thought you were my age.
Yeah. and so and of course, like I take that as a compliment, but at the same time, I want to kind of like instill that feeling in others, not only because of course I'm doing skincare, I'm doing facials and things like that, making people feel beautiful, but I want to really emphasize that it's not just about how you look, it's about how you feel.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be old because everyone's worried about aging, and especially in the modeling industry. And so it's really a mindset, and that's kind of where the whole like my whole business kind of is growing from. Is I want more people to have that mindset that once you turn a certain age, oh, that's it. Like I want to cross over, the beauty industry and the modeling industry. And I want to teach people what I have learned from my experiences to help them look and feel their best.
Well, thank you, Anna, for coming onto the podcast. And thank you, creatives, for tuning in. This has been your host, Christian Diaz, and stay creative.